So what are some things it takes to engage men? Well, it doesn't hurt to have a business case. I mean, we're in the business, setting, and we're all in this economic, interdependent commerce world. So understanding, well, what are, in my specific business, in my industry, what is the compelling case for this? And I ask people, don't be general about it. I don't want to hear the bobblehead answer, oh, diverse teams innovate more. That's like, okay, you could have got that off the internet in the morning. But to say, well, you know what? Well, using my friend Bill's supply chain example, well, how does having more women at leadership tables in supply chain change things? How does having more men in HR change the way you go about the human effectiveness of your organization? How does that all work specifically for your company and in your business and so forth? So that's really important. The second thing that I've discovered about men is that there's this kind of deep moral code about doing what's right. And because it's now become apparent in their own families, wives, daughters, sisters, etc., like, oh, they're actually being disadvantaged. And while you may not be able to solve their disadvantage in their company, you can solve it in your company, and that's somebody else's daughters and mothers and sisters. So really making the tie to this is the right thing to do. It's fair, it's right. Other men stepping up. And again, Mike and his colleagues, he's got over maybe close to 200 guys now in that company that have all stepped up and said, okay, we're responsible. We're not to blame, but we're responsible. And we're going to get after this. And we're going to, brainstorm our own solutions. We're going to work with our women's ERG network. We're going to help in the industry. I love it when I get things like this. So one of their more senior guys, really wonderful, extraordinary man, was one of those that the HR director said when he attended our training class, well, if you get him to turn around, then you got magic in your program. And I said, okay, all right, good. And anyway, so he, of course, once he saw his unconsciousness and these different unintended consequences and so forth, completely did a turnaround and, make some changes in his family life, had conversations with his daughter, etc. Anyway, he recently forwarded me an email exchange between him and the head of an industry, a trade conference that he was invited to because he's very iconic in his industry and everyone knows him and he's like, oh, he's the keynoter. So that they asked him to speak at the conference. And he wrote back to the conference convener and said, thank you so much. I feel honored by the invitation, but I couldn't possibly accept because there's no women on the program. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. This is the same man that led a team that when the vendors came in to bid for a $10 million project, okay, so they had 3 or 4 vendors that came in to bid for a $10 million project. One group came in and had if not, there were 10 presenters of this one team, and if it wasn't 9, it was 10, all men. And he stopped them before they started and said, look, we're going to save you some time. Appreciate all the prep you went into making this pitch, but just looking at who you brought to make the pitch, we couldn't possibly consider you as a vendor. Now, I couldn't help but think about, ooh, what was that like for the guy that had that team to have to go back and tell the boss, we lost the Cardinal account, for something that could have been solved had there been some awareness and so forth. So, it is a business issue, and when men step up, other men follow. Big part of their culture is leadership. Feedback from women they know and love and respect. So sometimes women think, oh, they already know, I don't need to tell them again. I can't tell you the number of men that when I ask, hey, why'd you come to this event? They go, because I was invited. Oh, okay, hot tip. Another hot tip, women, because they were invited. So women talking to their male colleagues about things that matter. Joe, you may not know this, but if you watch in meetings, oftentimes men will interrupt and talk over the top of women. And while everybody, it might seem like everybody's doing that, it disproportionately disadvantages women, especially more soft-spoken women that won't just get in the food fight. They'll just back off. So I'd like you to pay attention to that and see if you can intervene. It's amazing. One thing, and I can guarantee you the next time they're in a meeting and that happens, they'll go, wait, Brian, let Betsy finish. Betsy, what were you saying? It's amazing. So it doesn't take a lot, but it takes everybody. And it takes the willingness to be courageous. Again, I just want to tell you that this for men is a source of great pain. You know, it's like my experience of being white. Most days I don't worry about or think about being white, but every time I start to really get present to the privilege I have that my brothers and sisters of color don't have, it makes me cry. It makes me cry that something so basic and so fundamentally human happens, and then I do my best to do something. Anything. That's the point about, you can either live from a context of nothing I do will make a difference, it's too big, it's too vast, or I can shift my context and live from anything I do will make a difference and I'm going to take one action today or whenever I'm awake. So I want to say that we've got, ready, willing, and able partners waiting for us.